Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the shop. I am Joe. This is where I teach. Once again, this is my 19th year teaching industrial arts to high schoolers. In about the last dozen or so of those years, I've been able to teach woodworking. Along with that, I teach small engine repair, power technologies, and a basic auto class. So this is my adventures. This is my week as a shop teacher. So let's dive into it, all right? So I start out my day teaching a Woods 2 class. And currently every student is building this end table. Oh man, is that dusty. They're building this end table. And traditionally the table would have this drawer, but since we've been on kind of a hybrid, we are just going to focus on building 4 legs, 4 aprons, and a top. And then we can always add to it. We can taper the legs and so far. So this week we've been focusing on building the top. Now the finished size of this top is 18 inches wide by 22 inches long. And because of that small scale, we don't have to worry too much about seasonal changes in humidity and temperature and the whatnot. However, it's still something that we practice by taking a look at the end grains and trying to get them to kind of swim together, smiles and frowns. And so we've been working on getting the students to understand proper layout, to actually mark the boards, get on the joiner, and we join a face, we join the edges that join together. Sometimes we even have to go to the table saw and make sure that those boards are nice and parallel, and then they glue them up. That's about all they got done this week. Next week we'll be able to come back, machine those up, square them up. Probably won't take more than half a class period, and then we'll start going on to the next thing. So that was my Woods 2 class. My Woods 1 class continued to work on this shelf here. And so they have built the top, they built this middle shelf, and now my students are working on this pegboard and this keyhole board, we call it. We end up putting keyholes in the back to hang it onto the wall. These shaker pegs, I purchased those quite a bit at a time usually, and so those are something we don't produce as well. The way we build these 2 boards is we build them as one board, and by building them as one board we kind of can take a look at the process of it, rough cut on the miter saw, join it, join a face, join an edge, plane it down to 3/4 again, and then we cross cut it to length, and then we cut off a 3-inch piece and a 2-inch piece, and then they are left with a little bit of scrap. And by us walking through that process with them, we're able to take a look at saving steps and how to have some consistency and length through building multiple boards out of one board. Now, once again, 2 hours of my day is in the wood shop currently, and the other 3 are in this old auto shop. And so I teach a PowerTech B, so a second trimester of PowerTech. First trimester they worked on small engines. We carried that over a little bit to the second try. And so we pretty much put the small engines to the side. We were able to turn the page. We start looking at magnetism, wires, direct current. We're starting to build some motors. We start out by taking a look at all the different pieces, kind of define them a little bit, and yet visually define them so they actually can see the pieces, handle them. We take a screwdriver and we build a very small electromagnet where we get to pick up some different items, and so they understand how wires get wrapped and magnetism gets created. And then we go in and we build a couple of small, what we call homopolar motors. And so what that basically means is single pole. Sometimes the pole is actually the item that spins. We do a small one with a screw, and then the second one is where a piece of copper wiring is just spinning around a battery and magnet. Real simple, real fun, but it gets them engaged. Now in my PowerTech A class, once again, these students are having fun, but now we're starting to see the separation between those students who have used tools before and those students who can't identify tools at all. And so the students who are a little more experienced are moving a little quicker through the project. They're getting to that spot where they're cleaning and degreasing and removing gaskets, while the students who have limited exposure are still struggling a little bit. Now, I believe in the pyramid of understanding and learning, and I truly believe that an individual understands the best when they're able to teach it. Now, that doesn't make me the smartest guy. What it means is that I understand it in a spot in which I can explain it. And I really believe strongly that my students should be able to explain the task that they're doing. And so what I like to do is I like to teach an individual something, and then I like to send that student to teach the next student. Now, I usually sit kind of off to the side and make sure they're doing it correctly. But if they can explain it to someone else, it will stick in their brain a lot better and for a longer period of time. And so they're continuing to take those engines apart, pulling valves. We're starting to get in and clean valves a little bit. And you know, if they had a 3-hour class period, they might be able to get it all done. But with 53 minutes, really it's a half an hour of work. 2 days a week is not much time. And so that's what we got done in the PowerTech shop this week. So the last class I teach each day is an auto class, and this is not, I'm gonna be a mechanic class. This is more, hey, I wanna know about automobiles, I wanna know how to operate them, and how to do the basic fix-its. Last week, we used the tire changer and was able to dismount a tire, talked about the different parts of the tire, the notations of the tire, and this week, we're able to talk about balancing wheel tire assemblies. We do have an old rotational balancer. It doesn't work very good, but we still are able to talk about the process of it. We also have what's called a bubble balancer, where you lay the tire and wheel assembly on top. We talked about different types of weights, sticky weights, and the such. And then we were able to get in and talk about how to plug a tire versus how to patch a tire. And when you take a tire in to get repaired, what actually happens? Now, I completely understand that most students aren't going to have tire changers at home. But I think to understand what goes on when they take a tire to a shop, that's valuable. They understand where their money's going. They understand what goes into the process. They understand that skills sometimes battle with the cost of equipment. And so that is pretty much my week as a shop teacher. It's been a short week, and yet I can't say it hasn't been productive. And so once again, thanks for joining me, and thanks for sharing these videos. I appreciate it. Bye now.